Hello, this is Jerome Esperanza from ibuild.ph. In this session, we will teach you how to install Google Tag manually. I'm sorry, how to integrate Google Search Console with your website, um, and that's it. All right, so we have a website here which needs to be integrated to Google Search Console, to get the benefits and the features that Google Search Console has to offer. To install that, you have two options. Of course, head over to Google Search Console, log in using your Gmail or any Google Workspace email, and you'll be probably the first time that you uh, access GSC, you'll probably be prompted by adding a property, and in adding a property, you have two options, whether you want to add by domain or by prefix URL. So for domain, as it says, it will read all URLs across all your domains, including the subdomains, and whether it will automatically detect whether you're using HTTP or HTTPS or with or without wah or www. So if this is your domain, you probably just need to enter that here and then continue. Okay. And the next step is it will require you to either add a DNS record, and two options for DNS record, whether use TXT DNS or CNAME record. Okay, so what are these? These are DNS records that you need to add in your web hosting account, like cPanel or any similar interface or any similar web hosting management that I'm sorry, excuse me, that you will have to um, enter the DNS record. Okay, so with this, what's the difference between entering domain and URL prefix? URL prefix, instead of the domain, you will have to be you will have to enter this time not just the domain, but including the HTTPS. We call that the prefix. Whether with or without www, you'll have to enter the entire URL prefix. So in case you want to capture everything that you might have, like a subdomain, it's actually better to use the domain method. Or sometimes if you just need uh, uh, to to get the performance of a single or particular website, you can use the URL prefix method. Okay, if you want to use the URL prefix method, from the example, just enter the entire URL with the prefix. Enter that, and the example does not include the trailing slash, so remove that. Okay. So what to use? Do we need to use the one with www or without? It really depends. What I would want you to try is, if you enter your domain in any browser and click enter, you'll need to see what is being served by your web hosting from the browser. So in this case, it's being served without the wah. So use that. But if it for some reason the after entering the domain and it will resolve to a URL prefix with wah, of course it makes sense to use that. But in this case, we don't want that. We don't need that. So continue, and the same way it will give you options on how to verify ownership of this GSC account. There are many options. One option is to upload an HTML file by downloading this HTML file from Google, this one, and upload that to your server so it will be read here. In this case, if you upload this to your website root, so you'd probably need access to your server like file transfer protocol or FTP, or from cPanel that would be in the file manager and upload that HTML file. But if you do not have that access, you'd probably want to use the Google Analytics method. The Google Analytics method is will require you to set up Google Analytics previously before this step. And once you have set up Google Analytics using the same email address with as the same email address you're using now, it will automatically detect since you are the owner of the Google Analytics account of this domain. So you'd probably want to do this if that is the case, which is actually easier, and it will automatically verify that. But in case you do not have that option, you'd probably go for the one with, and if you have access to your server, you'd probably do the HTML file method or the HTML tag. The HTML tag, similarly, you need to insert in your index.html file this meta name, this meta tag here provided. So you'd probably have to access your index file, index HTML, and insert that meta somewhere here. That's a verification. All right. So probably if you want this method, just copy that and download your index HTML file or any template file will that is being used by your website. So your web developer would probably know that and be able to help out. And simply insert that and save and then return that file to the server and click verify. But if that is not the case, okay, um, you'd probably still have this option, domain name provider, the same one that's being provided in the domain name method. All right. So we'd probably want to demo the one with the cPanel by modifying the DNS records. Why? Because this has been already explained. That should be easy. HTML method that's been explained by doing that here in your index file or any template file. Google Analytics should be easy if you have already set up Google Analytics for this account using the same email address. And Google Tag Manager, um, we'll show that in another session later on. But we'll deal with the domain name provider. So whether you use this uh, by URL prefix or the one with the domain, whether with the one with the domain, okay, we'll use the domain method. I'm using the domain method because, it seems it makes sense that, using the domain method, I'd be flexible enough later on if I have more subdomains coming in. I want that already ready. So I'll continue setting up domain method, and between the two options, I'll probably use txt, which is easier. Copy that, copy that, and I have this now here. All right. And once I have that somewhere here, safe, I'll head over to my cPanel, the cPanel of my website, and probably just search for DNS and click Zone Editor. And you'd probably get something like this. All right, at this point, you have an option to add, I'm sorry, not a record, manage, click manage. And this time you'll see all different DNS already being used. So just simply add the record and click on txt record because that's what we want, right? That's what we are choosing, txt record, DNS txt record. And once you click txt record, add record txt, you'll get this. And from the name, enter something like, of course, just Google does not provide instruction at this point. What's the DNS name or the TXT name that you will use? But from the options below, you'd probably, probably assume that, the domain will be used here. So just copy from the options provided here below that are already existing. Take note, if you copy that, you need to include the period, the dot at the end, because that's how DNS txt records work. And you'll probably use the default TTL, uh, time to live. So it's a server thing. It just means that the time or the frequency that you know um, it's a server thing anyway. Okay, txt record, and the record, the one that is been provided, copy that, just paste that there, and then simply save the record. After saving the record, the txt record, you can now see that it's already here. Okay, there. Go back to your GSC, and then you can now click verify. Okay. By this time, GSC has already detected that from your website, from that domain, we have that txt record already in place, and you can now go to property. And from there, you'll now have ibuildph.com that can be used in in monitoring its performance in Google Search Console. So I hope that helps. All right. See, if you need help, just comment below or just reach out to us from the links provided in the video comment. All right. I hope this helps.